Alright guys, in this video we're going to discuss the 1994 to 1997 Honda Accord. These cars were and still are reliable, and I see them on the road even to this day. Now, as you guys know, I love talking about sedans, so let's jump right in and talk about this particular sedan. So this was actually designed in the year 1990, if you can believe that. This was designed in the year 1990, and just the year before that, the Accord still had the pop-up headlamps. Okay, so designed in 1990, and the design was approved in 91, but they had to keep making revisions to this design all the way up until 1992. Okay, so this car was internally known as the CD chassis. So by late 1993, this car went into production at Marysville, Ohio, and in the month of September, it went on sale as the 5th generation 1994 North American Accord. Now, this new Accord was a little shorter compared to the old one, but it had about an extra 3 inches of width over that 1993 model. But still, although this one was a bit shorter, it was overall larger than the 1993, if that makes any sense. You could get this car in 3 body styles. Yep, this was the 90s, so of course you could get a 2-door coupe. There was also a wagon, and then of course there was the sedan. Now, when people went out to buy an Accord, the sedan was more than likely the one they would get. Okay, so if you got the sedan, you could choose from the base DX, mid-level LX, and the top trim EX. If you got the wagon, your choices were limited to the base LX or the loaded EX. And if you lived in Canada, the trim levels there were LX, EX, and EXR. Okay, so let's talk about the engines you could get in these 94 Accords. Each and every 1994 Accord was powered by an all-aluminum alloy, single overhead cam, 2.2 liter, 16 valve 4-banger. The mill was rated at 130 horsepower in DX and LX models. These DX and LX models featured a modified version of the previous generation's 2.2 liter non-VTEC 4-banger, and there was a 5 horsepower increase over the old 1993 model. The EX is the one that was upgraded with Honda's VTEC technology, and this mill cranked out 145 horsepower. As far as transmissions, a short throw 5-speed manual came standard, but like I always say, if you didn't like driving a stick shift, you could of course get an automatic. In this case, that would be a 4-speed automatic, but let me tell you, if you got the automatic, you would be missing out on that smooth shifting manual transmission that Honda always does so well. Later on, you could get a V6 in this generation, and that was in 1995. So in 1995, Honda gave us a choice between the 4-banger or a V6. This V6 was 2.7 liters, and it was based on the original Acura Legend engine. It was good for 170 horsepower and 165 pound-feet of torque, and it came with a new 4-speed electronically controlled automatic transmission. If you wanted the V6, you had to go with the LX or the EX sedans. The 6-cylinder LX models were called the LX V6, and the EX models were known as the EX V6. The new V6 engine was of course bigger than the 4-banger, so there were some things they had to do to the CD platform to make this larger engine properly fit. For example, they had to change the engine layout and move a few things around. Now, the V6 received a dual outlet exhaust, the 4-speed automatic transmission that I mentioned earlier, 15-inch aluminum alloy wheels on the EX V6, and they changed the front grille just a little bit. From a safety standpoint, there were driver and passenger airbags standard on all Accords. For 1996, there was a mid-cycle refresh. These are easy to identify. The 1996 had more of a smiling face up front, and the taillights are fuller. They extend all the way into the trunk lid. The front end of the 1994 had more of a frowning face and a different grille, and this is what the rear of the 94 looked like. So it didn't extend into the trunk lid, it was just on pretty much the outer edges of the car. In 1996, you could get a 25th anniversary edition, and in 1997, Honda decided to release the special edition version of the Accord, and this one came in 3 colors: Heather Mist Metallic, San Marino Red, and Dark Current Pearl. The Accord EX's front and rear suspension consisted of double wishbone arms, coil springs, and stabilizer bars, making it one of the most sophisticated layouts to be found on a contemporary mainstream sedan. People did like the Accord not only for its reliability, but also the crisp and responsive 4-cylinder engine. And let's not forget the manual. Honda always knew how to make an outstanding manual transmission. When they bought out the V6 in 1995, it made the Accord more competitive and gave it that much needed boost in power. This particular model ran from 1994 to 1997, so they began producing the 6th generation Accord in August 1997, and those started hitting dealerships around September of that year. Now, these two cars are completely different, but they do look similar. Looking at the two, you would think it was designed by the same person, but they were not. They were actually designed by two completely different designers. But there was a reason for that. The 94 to 97 model was so successful, they didn't want to do anything too extreme with the design and, alienate potential buyers, because that's exactly what happened over at Ford. They had a major hit on their hands with the 92 to 95 Taurus. Then they tried to recapture the success of the 1986 one, so they tried to replicate that success by going wild and crazy with the 1996 design, but all that did was alienate most of their buyers. So the Taurus got a revolutionary design and ultimately lost the title of best-selling car in America. The Accord, on the other hand, got an evolutionary design, and it remained at the top of the mid-size sedan class. And the 1998 Accord actually looked great, and believe it or not, back in 1998, I had two car pictures hanging up on my wall as a kid. One was an Infiniti i30 and the other was the new generation Accord. Yep, the sedan, not the coupe. And speaking of the coupe, those looked great too with the new generation, and I love the NSX inspired taillights. And I also liked how it had its own unique front bumper. But we'll talk more about this particular generation in another video. So this generation Accord got a ton of positive feedback when it first came out, and everybody loved it. Once again, the Honda Accord was named Motor Trend Import Car of the Year in 1994. Okay, so that does it for this discussion. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. And let me know if you ever drove a Honda Accord from this generation, or if you drove the 98 to 2002, because I actually owned a 98 to 2002 at one point. But thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.